Yeah, in the top left, it's got a cloud symbol, so it's going up.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, so I replicated the error that I got last week over here. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, but I'm looking at
Nah.
it at the moment. Okay. But I can
Sorry,
see.
you can see it? Okay.
And stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so I did what I was saying. I just recreated the file this time as a proper UTF-8 file instead of UTF-16. And now when I run the same command, I get a new error, which is promising.
Okay.
Have you got two screens, Jer?
I do.
I think you're sharing the other screen.
Oh, am I? Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can do
It's
this again.
okay.
There we go. Is this better?
Yes, we can see.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's the previous error with the former file, and then now here's the new error, and I'm not sure what I'm looking at here.
Okay. If I was to guess, based on the stuff at the bottom, I think it tried to invoke Clojure, like the Clojure binary from a JavaScript thing, because this looks like a JavaScript error to me.
I see.
When it said server starting.
What is it supposed to invoke?
I think that's correct, but it failed to do it. Error event on child process instance. So maybe it ran that command, but then Clojure failed, perhaps?
Let me just make sure I have Clojure actually installed and running.
Yeah.
Looks alright.
What happens? There's some spawn arguments there. What happens if you do Clojure and then pass in those arguments that it lists?
Like something like this?
Yeah, exactly. And then and do all of the arguments.
Okay. Well, that's quite annoying. I have to.
Yeah.
Let's see if that works. Oh, yeah, that's close enough. Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, right, because it's running a...
I think that's Shadow CLJS trying to start its server up.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get that firewall warning then. But that seems to work. Let me try it again. Yeah. Okay.
Did you click allow on that firewall event?
I'm sorry?
Did you click allow on the firewall event?
I did, yes, yeah.
Oh. Can we try Googling what that error number is? Negative 4058.
Sure.
Might not tell us much more. Error event and child process.
Let's see. I should probably put Fulcro. I'm not sure.
I think this will be a JavaScript error, so you might have to put
JavaScript. Is it common for JavaScript to have a negative error number? I've never seen a negative error number.
Yeah, it's very strange. Okay. Let's review the files that you've got, I think.
Okay.
So
Server starting events.js.
we've got a deps.eden, we've got an index page, and we've got a shadow CLJS. I think that's everything, isn't it, in terms of like things that we've actually made ourselves so far.
I don't remember anymore. But it sounds right.
The thing that you did to like clean the files before, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense.
Have you applied it to every file that we've made, which is deps.eden?
Yeah, all I did was just basically copy and paste it into Notepad.
Yeah.
As a temporary buffer to hold the contents.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, I can try that. But I think the reason why it worked before with the Shadow CLJS was that that IntelliJ just doesn't play well with bombs and the UTF-8 16 encoding.
Yeah.
So like even in Notepad, I had to make sure that I was actually in UTF-8 before I copied the contents back into the file, and that seemed to make Shadow CLJS work a little bit better. Oh wait a second, what am I doing? Why I did not delete that. I was
I think package.json
oh
is the other file as well that might need this treatment doing to it.
oh I see. Is is this something that I also created from the Rome page yesterday?
Well, we generated it actually. It should be mostly okay. We did npm y, which generated like the skeleton, and then
Oh,
we
I see.
npm install, which added the dependencies. It should
Okay.
be okay. But the fact that we're getting an error makes me think at least one of the files is.
You're right. It's not. Oh, there's a JSON schema error here. A schema error. It could be this line. Let me look at the Rome page we had last time.
So the package.json stuff will be at the very top. Yeah, with the npm in it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Npm install.
And where is the part that fills in the package.json?
Npm install will do it. It should be all programmatic, so maybe file isn't the problem.
Huh. Then I don't know. Why is it complaining? I don't think I've touched it unless I actually did touch it. But it does complain of a JSON schema error here. But like I don't know. There's so many JSON formats these days. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's complaining about. I wish it was a little bit more specific in its error message.
Yeah, I think JSON schema is like a specification language for anything you want, essentially. But yeah, I think this file is fine.
It's fine. Okay.
What would be wrong then? Let's think about that. So,
well, here it says that it throws an error at the. I don't know why it's a events.js. Is that something worth looking at?
if you can find it in the code base, yeah. You might need to do, yeah.
So it's in the node modules. Wow. So this can't be. This is automatically generated. I definitely didn't touch this.
Yeah.
I think
and it
this
was
is part of Node.js itself.
So so 291.
If you go back to the command line where you've got npx shadow cljs start,
Yes. Okay.
instead do shadow npx shadow cljs server, and I think that might give you a different error.
This one. Okay.
Yeah. I found when I had trouble starting,
Oh,
this gives.
that looks promising.
Ah.
Does that look? Is that what it's supposed to look like?
Yeah, I think so. I'll just...
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a
If you go to
dashboard
bills,
here. There's a
on
dashboard.
the,
I'm
yeah.
not familiar with
Oh,
this.
now click, yeah, go to bills
Okay.
and click start watch. And if you
Okay.
give it a minute, or if you've got a better machine than me, then less time than that, that spinning gear will turn into a smiley face, hopefully.
Oh,
Ah, you
my
can see,
CPU, my fan just turned on. My my computer fan just turned on. Does it really use that
okay.
much computing power to run the server, or to
Um,
compile? Okay.
it may have been the compile, yeah. So you've got a smiley
Yeah.
face there. If you go to localhost 8000 and refresh the screen there, I think you might be up and running.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait.
Hello
I'm sorry.
world.
Can you say that?
Yeah,
Sorry, Richard. Let me put on my earphones so I can hear you a bit better. I don't know why, but
sure.
you're coming in very soft. Let me
It
just give me a
might be my
second.
accent.
No, no, no. It's not. It's not
No,
your accent.
it might be. My
I'm just gonna
colleagues have
use my
enough trouble
headphones
understanding me. So,
if I can get my headphones to work.
okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Let me just turn everyone's volume up a little bit.
Sure.
Hey. So what were you saying just now?
So, yeah, now that you've gone to localhost 8000, you can see it says hello world. So
Yes.
you've
Yeah.
got it up and running.
Yeah. Oh,
If
that looks great. Okay.
if you
So
go to the client CLJS, you should have a section in that that has hello world, and if you change it and save, it should update.
do I have to save it or? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That looks great. Fantastic.
yeah,
Thank you.
you're there. Great.
So, what is the difference between npx start and npx server?
That's a good question, Adrian. Do you know the answer? The only thing I can think of is start when you're on start it's running as a separate process, so it'll return the command line back to you when it's finished, but it's not giving you the same feedback that you've got there. So that's as best I understand it. Adrian, can you give a better
Yeah,
answer?
I just had a look at the docs. I've pasted the docs into the Zoom chat as well, so everyone can have a look. It's documented as exactly what you said. Basically, it's if you do server, then it's in the foreground, and if you don't do server, it's delegated to the background.
Oh, could it be that that the old Windows command doesn't provide a send to background? Because I'm not aware of the Windows command being able to send things to the background. That might be the reason why
Maybe.
it failed.
I mean, I'm interested to know what happens if you terminate the process now and you try and do start and stop. Do we still get the same error as before?
Okay, so I'm just gonna hard kill it.
Yeah.
And then try starting. So still the same error as before.
Okay.
Um, I wonder if this holds for, so I'm on, this is PowerShell I'm using, but let's say I use regular good old command line. Oh, oops, no, that is the wrong one. Start. Right, yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't like handing off for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think the Windows command line has a background, has a way to send things to the background, which has always been one of the things that annoys me the most of working on Windows.
I suppose on Windows you have that concept of services, don't you? You can like open a prompt and then, so I suppose it would be idiomatic in Windows to start one of those up and then stop it when.
Yeah. I mean, the other way to do it would be to, generally speaking, when I need to run something in the quote unquote background, I have, on the shell at least, I have to send it to another shell instance, and literally another command line window opens, and then you just ignore it for as long as it's running. Which is so archaic, but that works as well.
Okay, well that's good information to know. Because if we're going to make this for Windows users, then
yes,
we're going to need to know that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. There's so many documents that don't do that. That don't run through on a Windows instance. So this is fantastic.
Okay, I've just put a little note in there.
Wait. Stop.
So yeah, we've got Hello World going, which is good. Have you got much experience using a REPL at all in Clojure?
Yeah. So yeah, I do. I have a bit. I initially tried to use nREPL as the default REPL, and then I think because of tooling reasons, I ended up using just the Clojure main REPL as my default REPL these days. So that's what I'm using on IntelliJ right now.
Okay, cool. If you start up your server again, there's a couple of things that it starts up. Just go over that. So it started up a development HTTP server on port 8000. It's done that because inside of our shadow -cljs.eden, we have a little bit of code that asks for that feature.
I see, yeah.
Where it just says serve out of this folder. We also asked for a nREPL server on port 9000, and so it's issued one of those as well. We can go ahead and try and connect to it if you want.
Let's see if I know how to do this. So, is there a alias for?
I'm just trying to think if you can do it with Clojure.main. Because the REPL that is started is specifically an nREPL server.
Oh,
It says
okay.
that.
Okay, so let me choose nREPL, and then
And then I think you have to do a remote REPL, I think.
please remind me how I know what you're talking about, but I
Yeah.
don't
So
remember the parameters for it.
if you press the plus button, because there's two types of REPLs that you can have. You can have the local, or you can have
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. So remote socket REPL.
nREPL for now, I think.
Okay.
And then yeah, port 9000 in there.
Okay.
In the port section as opposed to the host.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's enough to get you going, hopefully.
Okay. Let's give that a shot.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So what can I do here?
At the moment, our application is running client-side in the browser. And the REPL that we've connected to is a Clojure REPL, not a Clojure script REPL.
Okay.
So what we need to do is, so we're currently connected to Shadow CLJS, and we just need to tell it that we have a build. So Shadow has a concept of like builds. You can have many different builds for various different reasons. You might have like a React Native build, and you might have a production build, a development build, all kinds of stuff. If you go back to the Falcro docs in Rome, I think on the next page, if you can navigate to Falcro State Management, which I don't think you're allowed to click it, are you? Which is annoying. I'll send you a link to that. So I've just put the link in the Zoom chat.
See it. Okay.
Yeah, we want to run that command at the top where it says shadow REPL :main.
Do I need to be in a namespace at all?
I don't think you need to be in any particular namespace right now, anyway.
Okay. All right, let's see.
Okay. Why?
So a brief question, because I'm not too familiar with the remote REPL. Right here it says that the nREPL server started on this port.
That's good.
Does that look right to you? Even though we're supposed to be connecting to a like maybe I made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, let's review.
Yeah, I think this might be wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know my tooling very well. Let me try again.
In this set, yeah. Maybe make sure host is.
Here we go. This is right. This is right. Oh, maybe is it right? Oh no, I don't know
I
what I'm
think it
doing.
is because you have a host and a port. So that's a remote that you've got there.
Yeah. So this is pro remote REPL. Invalid host specified. Should I just say localhost?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
All right, let's try this again.
Yeah, that's right, because it should be instant because it's already running.
Ah, okay. All right.
The connection should be instant.
Great. Okay. All right. Let me try that again. Does that look right?
Yeah, I think that's what it should come back with. Oh, no worker main. Let's think about that for a second. Have you got the page open that says "Hello World"?
Let me take a look. Yes. And I just refreshed it.
Build
Why does,
main not running.
yeah, what does that mean?
If you go back to here, reload this page.
Okay.
And then click Start Watch.
What does that? What does the word watch here mean?
So watch means file watch. So as you make changes to
Oh.
projects, it will live inject the changes.
I see.
Yeah, that looks better.
Okay, so selected main.
Okay, so you can now issue JavaScript to the live running page. You can do, for example, JS/alert inside
Right.
parentheses to.
Okay. And that will show up. Oh, cool. Wow. Nice. It's very, very nice.
So I'm going to kind of assume that you sort of well versed with the REPL generally, like, like the shortcut for changing namespace and like.
I would say well versed is a bit of a stretch, but I can manage. I hope. Should I try the rest of the steps going forward?
I'm trying to remember what this is, but yeah, I think so.
Okay.
What's in our client CLJ?
Let's see. Client CLJS.
And what does it do on the Rome page? What was it talking about? I think it's okay.
So I see that I'm not too familiar with Clojure atoms. I read a little bit about them. They maintain state in some way. So I'm kind of curious about how this works out. Oh.
I was thinking, Rich.
So with the I was going to say about the atom. So, in Clojure, everything's immutable. Usually, things don't change, and an atom is just a safe way to have a variable that you can change, you can mutate, and so in the language, it just has functions that can wrap around that atom, so you can change it, and it will not have any issues if you're working with it concurrently. So other languages, because mutability is allowed, and if you have concurrency going on at the same time, you can get into a bad state. But here, atoms just protect you, so it's a really good way to manage states. But other languages don't really have global variables, but with the atom, now becomes quite safe to use.
So I remember that. Okay, I should say I don't. What I should say is I don't remember. There was some difference because in a lot of languages, the popular languages, it's relatively trivial to change the state of a
Yeah.
variable. But I remember there's some, for lack of a better word that comes to me right now, some ceremony that's involved to change the state of an atom. And I'm kind of curious how Fulcral utilizes the atom in this particular way. Is this particular atom that I'm um, doing, like this app atom right here? Is that an atom that I'm looking at?
Yeah. So that's
So
holding
what
the
does this? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that's going to hold the all the application data in it, and I think it's in the lesson that you've got on the screen at the moment. We'll be able to like interrogate what's inside the app.
The reason why we've got an error there is because we're in our default namespace. In order
I
to
figured. Okay.
get to where we need to be in the app client namespace.
I don't know how to. Oh, app client. I see it. App client. Yeah. Okay.
Is that what? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, there's a warning. Undeclared variable?
Normally what you,
Bar.
or at least what I would do, because I've never tried to do it the way that you just did it, would be there's a function called in-namespace.
Oh, right. Yes, I can execute that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Undeclared var resource. Yeah, I don't know where
Well,
that's from.
that might be from before. I don't know. Let me try it again. Let me just make sure I'm even running the right REPL command. Load file in REPL.
Yeah, you're doing it right. In the bottom right hand corner, you can see your current namespace, and it's app.
Oh yes, yeah, I see it. Yeah, okay.
You're in the right place. If you rerun the app state command, you should hopefully get something a bit more. In fact, you've already done it, haven't you? Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. What do we want to do?
We can change the value by running in the REPL. So I can do a reset on the atom.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's got that a 1 in there again. I see. That's fine, no problem. Easily taken care of. Okay. I mean, I assume this is just some internal state that won't immediately make any changes to the actual page.
So when you looked in the atom the first time, Falcro had put a little bit of information in there called falcro.inspect.core, and then it's app UUID. So that was just a little bit of information that Falcro put in to uniquely identify this application on the page, because you could have had many applications on this page, and it stores that state for tooling reasons. So we'll get onto that in a bit, but you'll be able to look at this database visually inside of Chrome a little bit later on, and it will use that UUID to sort of understand which application you're talking about when you're doing debugging stuff later on.
Okay.
The only reason that this part of the tutorial exists is kind of to just demonstrate that it is just a simple atom at this level. But Falcro is very opinionated about how you should actually put data in there.
Okay.
There is a lot of front-end frameworks in the Clojure script ecosystem where they just sort of say, here's your global atom, here's your tooling for it, but they have no opinion on whether you're how you go about storing that data. So you can store it any way you like,
Okay.
which is good and bad. Mostly bad because
Oh, okay.
because most people won't store their data in a normalized way. I don't know if you've ever done database work before.
Yes, I have. I typically store my data in an. Well, I mean, I try to denormalize as much as I can, but I'm lazy often, so I end up with a giant table. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah. I mean, you can denormalize here, but like the default is normalized. So which is a great help to like switch that default around, because yeah, it's very tempting to be lazy and just think, oh, I'll just put it in the convenient place, and then you have to go along and refactor it later when you find you actually need to like query it efficiently.
Right.
But yeah, I'm going on a little bit. So what do we actually want to do here? If we look at client.clJS and use state atom parts of the props. Oh, okay. I forgot about this about Falco actually, but the thing that we've just written to our atom is now available to us in our application. It's passed through the top component, and the top component is called the sample component on line 8.
I
So
see. Yes.
if you were to call the string function on the props argument inside of that component, you should hopefully see a bad representation of your database on the page.
Oh, okay. So the props variable, where is the props variable declared?
It's the second argument to the kind of function. Well, it's not really a function, but where your cursor is.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Right. Okay. So, DOM div string
There's
props.
an example of this if you need some help on the docs to the right.
So string. Okay.
So you won't see anything in your REPL because we didn't ask
Oh.
that to happen, but you will see something on your web page hopefully.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Nice.
So your database is passed to your top level component. That's
I
essentially
see.
what we're trying to demonstrate there.
Okay.
What else is going
Is a component in Fulcral necessarily a div?
on? A component can be a component can have no HTML, or it
Oh,
can have
okay.
any kind of HTML.
Mhm.
For the moment, we're just going to deal with components that visually render to the screen.
Okay.
So, yeah, like divs and anything you want, really. So you could change DOM div to DOM h1 and then have a look at your page if you want.
I see. Right. Got it. Let me change that back. So it says here, next we're going to be dealing with component nesting.
Yeah, we need to add some minor details to our foods.
As comp. Under the component variable, okay. Let's create a second component, use this above the sample component. Under next create a React component using a factory. Is the order important? Why does the person component need to be above sample, or is it just arbitrary?
It follows. Sorry, go on, Richard.
So I'm probably going to give you the same answer. So sample, the order is important because when the Clojure application reads the file, it reads it from top to bottom. So if it's UI, for example, def UI person, it needs to be aware of person already existing. So yeah, the order is important. If something doesn't exist, then you've got to get around it. So you can actually predefine at the top of the script the items that are going to be created if you don't like the order of things. But usually it's just, that's the way it's done that way.
Okay.
I hope that's clear.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The key FN bit's a little bit strange. It's to do with React, because this is React that we're sort of sitting on top of. So this is an abstraction on top of React.js.
Okay.
And React.js has a concept of, it wants to know about uniqueness in terms of, if you have a list of something, it would really like to know about a unique key for each thing in that list, so that when it comes to do diffing and some of the algorithms that it uses to speed up render, if this is in place, it can do that job much more efficiently than it could otherwise. And so we're just giving a hint to React here, and we're saying the person component that we're about to deal with, it's unique by person ID. So person ID is a keyword, and we're just saying each person is going to have a different ID.
Okay. Okay. So it is odd because like I'm not used to seeing a keyword being referred to as a function, although I guess keyword is technically a function. Like all keywords are technically functions in Clojure, is that right?
That's true, but it's not being invoked as a function here. This reads as a associative map or a dictionary, depending on what you're familiar with, where the key is a keyword called key FN, and the value is another keyword,
Okay.
person ID. So no function is being invoked here, it is just data.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if we can, if you scroll down a tiny bit, there's the bit about putting the person inside of the sample component.
Yes.
See if we can get away with that.
Okay. sample. Okay. Sample component being rendered. Oh.
Okay, so I should also mention actually the Shadow CRJS's error reporting is very good. So as you can see there on the page, it's pointing to the source of the error with a little arrow saying there's too many arguments to def at line 12. That is, I think it's technically a little bit wrong. I think the problem here is on line 16 and line 17. HTML is a tree. So there's always one element at the top of the tree, which is typically like a HTML tag or a body tag. And then there will be many things underneath it. And here I think we essentially need a wrapper outside of these two elements. You should see that in the documentation, I think.
Oh, I see. Sample response.
So on line 3 in the documentation, it's got DOM div that wraps both of the things that you've got there.
See, and I'm also missing what looks like arguments to sample.
Yeah, we're missing some destructuring as well. But we can get to that in a minute.
So DOM div and then DOM div. Okay. So DOM div. Oh, this is a good time to be practicing the barfing that we went over last week. I don't remember it anymore. Barf forwards. Oh, oops, no. Yeah, I knew I wouldn't remember how this works. What can help me remember? Because what I guess want to do is take this ending parentheses and enclose it in the block below it. So, I mean, I thought it would be I thought the verb barf tells me that I should like go forward. So that's why I tried barf forward.
Slurp it instead.
Slurp it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm slurping. So I'm saying I'm slurping the things in front of me into the. Yes. Okay. Okay. Got it. So slurp.
Imagine the brackets are like a little monster, and when it barfs, it throws something out, and when it slurps, it sucks it in.
Ah. Okay. All right.
Try so that. Yeah. You've slurped and slurped again.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's very intuitive. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to learn that.
That's really good. The thing that people complain about with Clojure is all the brackets, and that it's hard to tell what's going on and balancing the brackets. But once you've got this structural editing, it becomes an advantage, and you can
I think so.
Manipulate the data structures rather than just having to type sections of code out.
Yeah. No, I mean I like that, especially as a Vim user. It's great that I don't have to manually copy and paste brackets.
I've got a question about IntelliJ. So on Emacs, I've got a mode called rainbow delimiters, and so it colors all the outside delimiters. And so therefore,
what is it?
It's called rainbow delimiters.
Rainbow?
I think it's called rainbow. Yeah. Rainbow delimiters.
Rainbow delimit. Oh, so I see. I think I know what you're saying. So that it colorizes the brackets? Is that what it does?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like this?
Yes.
Oh, that would make it so much more readable if something like that existed in here.
I think it must do. Adrian? Is that something you can?
Yeah, so yeah, there's two things that I wanted to talk about there, I suppose. One is in IntelliJ, in PowerInfer, if we wanted to do that same operation with the slurping twice to bring that DOM element in, you can select lines 17 and 18 and then change the indentation, and then it would do the same.
Oh,
Um,
see. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
But I still need to learn buffing and slurping because both are useful in different ways. In terms of turning rainbow stuff on, if we click File and then Preferences or Settings, I can't remember. Yeah, Settings. And then type cursive in, or just type rainbow, you might get away with rainbow.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Where has this been? Oh, it doesn't work. Wait, why? Um,
Yeah, that's weird.
um,
Do you have to close the file and open it again, or is it? Yeah, I've never tried to turn this on because I'm not using it regularly.
that is great. I wish I had this months ago. Um, yeah. I want to try what I just did now.
I think probably you could get a theme for it. So if you don't like the way it's looking, you can probably change the colors for the ordering of those.
Yeah, you read my mind. It's not the
Okay.
best. It's
Yeah.
not the kind of colors I wish. But right now, I'm just content to even have something like this. But yes, I will probably try to figure out how this maybe
Make
has
it
something to do
prettier.
with
Yeah.
the color scheme. Yeah.
I think that will be because IntelliJ has an inbuilt editor to do with its color schemes. I think you
Yes.
can visually change the color of things there.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
always
if
get confused because there's so many. I think it's
yeah.
under editor, color scheme, and then yeah. I mean, I think like in general, I
I
could
think you've
probably.
got it on the left-hand side.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's that. But on the left-hand side, if you expand out color scheme,
Yeah.
and then is there yeah, there's a Clojure
I
one
see
there,
it.
and then there you go, rainbow parens level 1, level 2.
Oh,
You select that and then change the color for
right.
each level. I guess
I'm
that's it.
lazy. I'm lazy and just hoping this will. No. Um, no, I guess not. Still just changes the background.
I think the default
Yeah.
themes that are inbuilt just won't have an opinion on rainbow.
Yeah, I think you are right. Oh well, okay. Well, I will play around with this. Because I think I could get very stuck in the color selection. I don't want to waste people's time with me picking out good colors for now. I think I'll just waste my own time.
If you reload the page, you get different error now. No, you
Okay.
don't. But you're seeing old stuff, and why is that? That's because
So can
yeah,
I? So I'm 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 not sure what this like frowny face is doing here. If we're doing if the watch continuously monitors the app client namespace, um, like, is this saying that there is some error in my app client file and that it can't compile in real time, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think if you make a change to that, it will probably not pick up the change currently, I think.
So is that the intended behavior for Fulcro?
No, it's because I think what happened is we caused an error by not specifying a single thing at the top level of that component.
I see.
Then we viewed the compile error in Shadow, and then we corrected it, and then we went into the page again and reloaded the page, which like reinstantiates the application. But
Oh,
I think as far as Shadow is concerned, like there was an error previously. What happens
okay.
if you do force compile? Does it melt the computer? Okay, it doesn't. I mean,
It flashed there for a second.
there is an error here, but it's Shadow's acting a bit weird.
Is Shadow? Sorry, is Shadow the mechanism that monitors changes to the file?
Yes, indirectly, yes.
Okay.
Shadow is like quite common Clojure script tooling for quite a lot of things. Yeah, it does a lot of things.
Okay.
The error that I think we're experiencing here is that we've said there should be a variable called sample, and it's going into the UI person component. But I think...
Is it because I did not put in all the argument? Oh, that's different.
How was that?
Is it because I did not put in all the arguments to sample? I remember I did not type in this part of the um, sample code correctly.
Yeah, I think that would make it fixed in my eyes. But I think when like Clojure has no variable, it'll pass nil in. I don't know what nil would do in that scenario. What's confusing me is that, oh no, I think,
Or
can we,
maybe I have a typo somewhere. Should I
can we,
just copy and paste?
can we
Sorry, go
comment,
ahead.
can we comment out line 17 and have a look at the page after saving the file? Yeah, that's very strange. It feels like we're seeing something that really shouldn't be there. Why is that? Can you, on your terminal, close your server and restart the server?
Sure.
There's some very strange state going on. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense actually. So towards the beginning of the tutorial, there's a bit where we changed the atom. We put like someone called Joe into the atom. That atom gets reset every time you refresh the page. And so I was confused about why we weren't seeing Joe and we were only seeing our database. But that makes sense now.
Okay.
That it
right.
would display that. So if we reconnect our REPL, we can put Joe back into the database.
Okay. I wonder, like, is it for certain that I'm disconnected, that my REPL is disconnected from the server? Um,
I'm only
how do I check
guessing
for
because we
connection?
terminated it, but maybe it's still alive. Maybe.
How do do I just issue anything?
Yeah, it should tell you, I think, if it won't work. Looks
Huh.
like it's still alive. Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's I guess re-establish the state for the atom. Oh, I guess I wasn't. Oh, I'm sorry. No, there was the one in there. Is that why? Oh no, that's not why. But you're writing to client. Okay, so yeah, let's reconnect and then do that again.
We'll probably need to change namespace. Well, first you need to select the
Oh yes.
select the main build using Shadow REPL. You can do that by running a function call in your REPL.
Okay.
It'll be shadow / REPL :main. Yeah, you got your cursor near where.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because as soon as you connect to Clojure in the back end in order to get into your web app, your JavaScript web app layers, you need to run that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And if you have a
I
look
see
at
what you mean.
if you have a look at the top in IntelliJ, it now says CLJS. If you where it's got a little box just underneath your cursor, it
Oh,
says
this one.
CLJS. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
a minute ago when you connected, it said CLJ for Clojure, and then it changed
I
when
see.
you ran that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, just need to put it back in there. Have you ever heard of when you're doing REPL stuff? There's a workflow called rich comments, which is kind of a play on words for Rich Hickey. And
For I remember watching a video on this, but I don't remember exactly what. Like so, let me. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's like a practice in Clojure where instead of typing directly in the REPL, you type it into the editor at the end of the file or something like that, and then you send those forms to the REPL. So that's what I've been doing. Because I find it quite cumbersome to work in here because IntelliJ keeps kicking me out whenever I hit escape. um, so yes, can I do that here? I don't know what would be the right workflow. Like if I take this line and I wanted to put it down here, would that not mess up some kind of things in the namespace file?
Yeah, it probably would. So the workflow is to make a if you do a function call to a function called comment, which is kind of and then place all of everything that you want to do with your REPL inside of that comment block. It means when it's run, it won't actually execute, but if you put your cursor on it and send it to the REPL, it will execute.
Oh, I see. Okay, then let me try it. There's like a way to send form to REPL all ship. Okay, so no application is connected to the REPL server.
I mean, that makes sense because you should only really run that function once because you're already in that REPL.
Oh, is that okay? So why does it tell me that? What does that mean when it says no application is connected to the REPL server?
Because what's happened here is we started off in Clojure. We then connected to our main build, which is a Clojure script environment by running shadow REPL main. So we told Clojure, go load this Clojure script environment over here called main. And then now that we're doing it again, we're telling the Clojure script environment to go look for the Clojure script environment. And it's getting confused because that's not normally, like once you're in the Clojure script REPL, there's no reason to like try and get into it again.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you. Oh no. So slurp. I want to slurp it. Okay. Got it. If I do this. Okay. Just match delimiter.
Invalid keyword app state item. What is that?
Shouldn't mess with it. I'll match the limiter. This again.
Can I have a look at the error again?
Sure. Maybe I'm not executing the right form.
What happens if you send just any form to the REPL? Like 1+1?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks
Okay. Can you terminate your connection to this REPL?
Sure.
And then
just close all of them. I don't know if that's going to be helpful at all, but I have 3 REPLs running. I'm so confused. And I never did figure out how to close these tabs.
I think you can press the cross.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, yes, you're right. Okay, and so I'll just rerun the REPL.
I'm thinking that was a side effect of running shadow REPL multiple times, but I'm not 100% sure.
So load this file. I cannot load this Clojure script file into a Clojure REPL. So do I just do this? And then try again? No?
What happens if you change your REPL back to Clojure? And then that particular command, just copy it straight into the window and submit it. Does it let you?
This. Oh, that's bizarre. I don't know why that would be
Any different?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I thought the whole idea was to not have to do that. And it looks like it was doing that, but okay. I'm just gonna send this. Oh no. Can I assume that we're supposed to evaluate?
Have we got is it Firefox that we're doing stuff with?
Yes. Yes.
Have you got the application open?
Like right here in 8000.
What does it say at the bottom in red?
Oh yes. Oh, we discovered. Stale client. You're not using the latest compile. So should I force compile?
I guess so. Yeah. That didn't look great, did it? What happens if you press stopwatch? There's a lot of errors in that REPL. That's interesting. And then start watch. Why didn't it like that? So weird.
Is there no error message um when you start a watch? Like some kind of logging mechanism to tell you why it's a frowny face?
Yeah, I think that's what should happen when you do MPX shadow CLJ CLJS server. I think is when you should get that.
So it should be here in the like the frowny face should trigger some sort of a logging mechanism in the command line prompt.
I'm not sure about that. What happens if you close the server and start the server? Does it
Okay.
start complaining?
No.
The frowny face normally just means like Clojure script was unable to compile your application. But Shadow CLJS should be telling you why that is on the application itself. But
Okay.
for some reason we're not seeing that.
I blame Windows. I don't know what else to. It seems that seems
Oh, it's
that
frowny.
seems logical.
What does
Yeah,
it look?
it's
What does it look like on the page itself? Stale client. Yeah.
using this operation output.
Okay. Can we have a look at your file system through IntelliJ?
Sure. You mean the actual like folder?
Yeah, just like the root of the project. What happens if you delete? There's a couple of things we could delete here that might fix it. What's in Shadow CLJS? The hidden file, the hidden folder. Sorry. Jar manifest, and then builds. Okay. What happens if we delete this entire folder, the Shadow CLJS folder,
Okay.
and then stop the server and start the server again? We shouldn't need to do this normally, but it's a bit of a strange scenario. I'm hoping that means it will get rid of whatever that compile thing it was talking about was.
Okay. And should I hit start watch or compile? Or
Okay, so it's created a new folder. What's in the new folder that it's made? Is it just empty or has it got stuff? No, it's got
it has
dependencies
things.
and stuff. Okay, but it's got no build folder, I noticed from before. So it's probably good.
Yeah.
So click start watch and see what happens.
So there's the builds folder. And I hear my fan going off, so that's a good sign. Oh, and the frowny face again. But there is a better line here, just using wrapped inputs. So there is some kind of a feedback. The REPL worker has stopped. Oh, that could just be because we killed it.
Yeah.
Let me restart the REPL. Maybe that'll help. I don't understand why I can't send this form
I,
to the
I think there's an additional check that it's doing. So it's recognized that what you've got is a CLJS form, probably because we are in a CLJS file.
Mhm.
And technically that form isn't a Clojure script form. It is a
I
Clojure
see.
form. So it makes sense, actually, thinking about it.
So should I just, because I tried doing this and then it had that weird this problem. But then when we copy and paste it to the repo, it somehow worked. I'm not sure I understand
I think
what
it's
the difference is.
because it's changing it to say that we're working in a CLJ Clojure script REPL, even though we're in a Clojure REPL, is like it will send the command then because it thinks that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's the wrong way. It's the wrong way around. Yeah, I think you would have to just copy and paste it in. There is a mechanism in Cursive for like running a command when you connect to a REPL, but since you'll eventually have many builds for different things, it's probably best to just do it manually.
Okay.
In a normal scenario, you wouldn't be restarting your REPL very often. So
Still getting this odd error again.
no application is connected to the REPL server. Make sure your JavaScript environment has loaded your compiled Clojure script. So your page does, yeah, you do have to like be looking at the page and it not have any errors on it.
Oh, okay.
So like at the bottom of the actual page, not the dashboard that we're playing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that error at the bottom needs to go away for that to.
Does it help if I do a hard refresh? I don't even know what's causing a stale client.
Can we Google that error?
Sure. Shadow stale client not using latest.
So. I can't check it right now. There's a lot going on here, isn't there? Still client. That.
Starting expo with expo start. Maybe another link would be more helpful.
Yeah, exposed to do with mobile app development. My guess on this is it's something to do with, because the flow of this is there's a Clojure application running and it takes the Clojure script code that you have, compiles it to JavaScript, then runs it through the Google Clojure compiler. And I reckon the detection is maybe not working so great between, like, maybe the file system stuff to do with like checking that the compiled version is like live with the source version.
I see. I mean, so coming to this, because we were actually doing fine
I'm sorry
until
to interrupt.
yeah.
I've got to drop the line now, so I'll catch up with you next week.
Cool. See you next
Thank
week.
you, Richard.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Adrian. Have a good week. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week.
Yeah, you're right.
I was saying we were doing very well up until I messed up the sample component. Or was it that when I added the person component, because I never did check the compilation status while I was adding the person component in here.
Maybe I think the two changes that were problematic were if you revert the sample component so that it's this and props as the two arguments.
Yes. Okay. Should I just? I'm just going to copy and paste this block of code, and just make sure we rule out the typo problem here. So I'll comment that out, and then I'll also comment out the person component because we were doing fine up until that happened, and then oh, so now we have a smiley face again. So definitely I messed up something.
So something that I was going to recommend but wasn't going to talk about it just because it would take a bit of time to set up is there's a static analyzer for Clojure which is really good at catching these kind of issues that aren't necessarily obvious.
I'm sorry, I never heard that word before. A static what?
A static analyzer.
Oh, static analyzer.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that. How does it work?
Okay. What languages are you familiar with?
Python, PHP.
Okay. When you did PHP work, did you ever hear of anything called PHP stan or fan or what's it called? psam, I think is another one. There's quite a few.
It's been a while since I did PHP, so no, unfortunately not. I have heard of static analysis tools before. I heard it mentioned before, but I don't know what they do.
So how they would work in this context is there's a protocol that Microsoft came up with called the language server protocol. And what it is a protocol used by practically all editors that you can think of, usually implemented via editor plugins. And it's a protocol for a server that runs inside of your editor. And what it does is it reads in your code as you're writing it and then tells you if there's problems with it. And then feeds that back to the editor in real time.
Oh, that seems super helpful. How does it work in this setup?
So if you go to Google,
okay,
and type clj-condo, Kondo.
it's a linter. I'm familiar with linters, but I don't think I have this installed.
And then if you scroll down, there's a link, there's a hyperlink in this documentation called editor integration. I think it's about halfway down. Yeah, there it is. So this is instructions on how to get it working with practically any editor that you can think of.
Oh, wow, okay.
If you're doing it with IntelliJ, I would suggest the LSP server instructions over the file watcher one, because the file watcher one's just a little bit clunky compared to the LSP server one.
Got it. Okay. All right, then I will have this set up before our next meeting next week,
Cool.
and play around with it and see if I can somehow get this to work with the person component.
Yeah. I'm hoping,
Thank you, Adrian. Yeah,
that's all right.
just go ahead.
I'm hoping once you got it set up, it will just light up red and just be like, here's the obvious error. That's usually what happens.
I see. Okay, awesome. Looking forward to it already.
Cool. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye bye. Thanks for everything.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.